Hello and welcome to the edition episode 47 of the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast here on Newport City Radio. This week I'm Luke and I'm going to be talking about one of the most talked things of the week, AEW Double or Nothing.
Hi, I'm Curtis, and for my segment this week I'm talking about WWE moving Wrestlemania 42.
Hi, I'm Jack. For my segment this week I'll be talking about everything Saturday night main event.
It's been a little while, hasn't it, guys, since we last sat here and did this?
Yes.
It's been a while. We wasn't doing anything last week, and the week before it was just me.
It was just you with your review of WWE Backlash.
That was a fun old episode. That was a funny old episode, I will admit that. Honestly, it was hard to kind of, because I'm so used to like at least having Jack in the studio with me.
Yes.
So I can ask him questions, and it was like, I couldn't even ask myself questions, so I was just...
So myself, what did I think of that match? Myself, I'm very fast.
Yeah, it's like, it was one of those, it was a
Very
weird...
strange.
It was a weird one. I had my girlfriend in the studio, and she was just sat there laughing at me. It was funny as nothing.
As you just said off air that she was sat, she did watch it with you the night before. Why didn't you invite her on the podcast?
It's because she's new to all this. She actually said she would actually do it if she got involved, and she would actually start watching it properly, and she would actually come on. So who knows, in the future we could have my girlfriend on a podcast as a special guest. That's going to go down well.
I can't wait for that episode.
I'm going to make sure you're not in the studio when you're not here. But we're back. We are back.
Yes, and it's been a couple of weeks, but it felt like these past 7 days have been extremely newsworthy. I think there's only one place for us to say we've got a pay-per-view and a TV special to talk about, plus an announcement of another pay-per-view which will come towards the end of the podcast. But it's only right, it's only fair that we kick off this week by talking about Liv Morgan's reportedly back on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Fight for
Not tomorrow night, tonight.
Tonight even. We're recording the Monday.
We're still thinking it's Sunday. I was walking earlier and I was reading. Every Sunday we normally get given the run of the week of what we're doing at the radio, who's doing what, who's what, where, kind of thing, right? And I was looking at it and I was like, oh yeah, it's a Sunday today. And then I clocked. I was like, no, it's not a Sunday. It's a Monday.
Bank holiday.
What the hell?
It is Bank Holiday Monday here in the UK, and we decided to use that Bank Holiday Monday by sitting in the studio for an hour with each other, talking all things professional wrestling, which
we all love and enjoy. We're getting close to that 50 episode mark as well.
We do, and we know that Jack, you are a personal fan of Liv Morgan, so yeah, family is wrapped up on the movie she was out in Japan making.
As reported, yes.
As reported by Fightful, and she is supposed to be
back
tonight.
Could possibly be in a Money in the Bank qualifier.
Maybe.
Maybe. Surprise one that gets announced before the show. Who knows?
Someone gets taken out. We have seen them do it before.
Could we see them do it again?
They could very well. So, some of the little news that's come out this week, and there's only one person to talk out there.
Little? What's little about this?
There's only one person we need to turn to for this.
The only little thing about wrestling is Hornswoggle. This news is not little.
It was announced on Wednesday or reported on Wednesday, that WWE had made the decision to move WrestleMania 42, which had already been announced for New Orleans when The Rock came out and cut a promo. It was just before the Elimination Chamber. And yeah, he came out and announced the WrestleMania 42. While SmackDown was live in New Orleans, WrestleMania was going to be there next year. You had the graphics, you had the dates, and they said tickets would be available soon.
Yes.
Tickets won't be available for WrestleMania in New Orleans.
Nope.
Because the report stated that WWE had a significant offer to move the event elsewhere. Jack, you're making the money sign to me.
Yes.
Talk to me.
I just believe at the precise moment in time, they've just done it for chasing money-wise. They haven't really necessarily thought of the massive global fans they have acquired over the last couple of weeks with the whole Netflix deal.
Well, one of the global fans they have is sat in the studio, and he's our reporter on all things WrestleMania being moved. Curtis, take it away.
What a shambles. Seriously, right. Let's get into this. Let's get into a 10-minute rant. You sit back, Luke, and you enjoy this.
I'll have to make a cup of tea. Jack, do you want a cup
Will
of
enjoy,
tea?
yes.
Right. Let's get straight into this. Okay, so The Rock comes out. He announces WrestleMania in New Orleans. Absolutely fine. Fair enough. We was hoping it'd be London. No, okay, it's not. Fair enough. New Orleans, yeah, okay. Then, a couple of days ago, we get a report. Well, actually, this is how it went. I got a message from you in the group chat saying, WrestleMania London, here we go, or something like that, or here we come. And I was like, you know what?
Fabrizio Romano style.
Yeah, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
So I looked at the group chat, I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, check socials. So I checked my Instagram. WrestleMania 42 has been moved. Oh? And I genuinely thought, for half hour, it was coming to London. But then, another report came out. WrestleMania 42, Las Vegas. What the hell? Excuse me? Why? How? In what world is it going to Las Vegas again? Another report came out later that night then. WWE have moved, planning on moving WrestleMania 42 to Las Vegas because Las Vegas have offered us loads of money. Well then. So you're going to have it in the same place for 2 years in a row. WrestleMania, right? 1, wrong. 2, what they should have done is they should have given Las Vegas a different premium live event. I don't know, like a Bad Blood or something, or like a Money in the Bank or whatever. Right? Instead, no, they're going to get a WrestleMania possibly for a second year. London deserves a WrestleMania. They really do. And this is me talking about the fans as well. I know for a fact that if WWE announced WrestleMania 42 to go to Las Vegas, they're going to get backlash. Because of the report that came out, they're doing it to get more money effectively. That is effectively what they're doing. Hence why they go to Saudi Arabia so much, because they get so much money from it. They get paid like $50 million per show over there.
Are we ready for WrestleMania in Las Vegas?
No! I will not be watching it. I will not be watching WrestleMania if it's in Las Vegas.
I meant to say, ready for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. Sorry, not Las Vegas.
If it's in Saudi Arabia, I'm not watching it.
You know that at some point it will go to Saudi Arabia.
Of course it will.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia will pay like $200 million for it. It wouldn't surprise me if they pay $300 million. They're full of money over there. But fair enough. I get they should divide the wrestling to everywhere, but why not? Why not bring it to Wembley Stadium? 80 to 90,000 people in attendance, which is more than what they had in Las Vegas. They only had between 50 to 60,000 per night. We could easily get 80,000 to 90,000 in that stadium, easily. We could even push for 100,000 if we really wanted to. But instead, they're going to Las Vegas because they want more money. When this new era seems kind of for the fans, like they're listening to the fans a lot more, and they really think going to Las Vegas is a real good move when they've just had it there. I disagree with it so much. Not because I really want a WrestleMania in London and I think the UK deserves one. Just as a whole wrestling fan. Like, I genuinely disagree with that decision. If it is true, and by the looks of it, it is very much true, it is going to go to Las Vegas for a second year.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Where's the direction in that? Just only because they want more money?
One money, yes, 1,000%.
Yes. But then they only got 60,000 in there in the stadium when they could move it somewhere else, and they could move it to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or London Wembley Stadium and have 80 to 90,000.
Yeah. Well, at least the WWE Championship won't be the only championship into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Funny.
Yes.
So funny, so hilarious.
Funny.
You make me laugh so much. But guess who's in a final on Wednesday? Chelsea in the conference final. We're going to win. Up the boys. Screw you, Real Betis. But guess what? Screw Las Vegas. I will never step foot in Las Vegas in my life.
Wow.
If someone offered me to go to WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas, VIP, backstage, I'd say no.
No, you wouldn't.
If I got the chance to meet
you, really would.
I genuinely would say no.
You wouldn't.
I'd say no. I'd say no. I am not.
Very strong words there.
I disagree with it so much it makes me want to pull my hair out of my skull. But why? Why?
You could start with that beard of yours.
Why? Why? Why Las Vegas? Do you agree with it going to Las Vegas for a second year? Yes or no?
No.
Exactly.
Nope.
Jack, do you agree with it going to Las Vegas for a second year?
Nope.
Hey, there we go. Should we put a poll up on social media and see if people should... Actually, I'm going to do that now, you know. I'm actually going to do that now. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go on Twitter, if I still have it on my phone, or X as it's now called, and I'm going to put a poll up. Do you agree with WWE going to possibly going to Las Vegas for a second year? Seriously, Luke, what's your thoughts on this whole situation?
I don't know what to say after that 10-minute rant from you there, Curtis. I mean, I feel, and I've seen a couple of people mention this online as well, this is kind of TKO and the UFC kind of implementing what they do on WWE. The UFC headquarters and their performance, I think it's Performance Institute rather than Performance Center for the UFC, is in Las Vegas. Every year, their biggest show of the year is in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. They do shows most weeks in Las Vegas. I feel like this is a TKO call more than a WWE call, in my opinion anyway, that WrestleMania is going back to Las Vegas.
It looks like the WWE have had sort of less of a say in what.
I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that anything you do in life, money always talks. It does.
Yes.
I feel for the fans of New Orleans and the people of New Orleans who are probably really excited that WrestleMania is coming back to their city, everything that comes along with it, you know, the almost the city takeover, the SmackDown, the Raw, the Hall of Fame, the NXT, all of that. Never mind the millions of eyes that's going to be on your city. Just for that to go back to Las Vegas for a bit more money.
Seems very underwhelming, in my opinion.
Now, it's important to note that this still isn't confirmed. It's been confirmed that WWE are shifting some of their events around next year. Triple H posted a video the other day on social media and said that Money in the Bank next year is going to New Orleans. So that's the premium live event they're getting next year. They're still getting a premium live event, and it's a pretty major one.
Nice.
It's pretty major premium live event. We know what Money in the Bank is and what it can do. Look at Tiffany Stratton, for example. Look at Damian Priest the year before that, and Io Sky. It really helped Io Sky, you know, win her first championship, and she's gone on to be a massive star now in WWE. But I just feel like this is a TKO decision rather than a WWE decision to try and have closer ties to the UFC. But then, although they're both kind of combat sports, that's probably where the similarities end. There's so much difference between UFC and WWE. For WrestleMania, you have fans traveling in all around the world. I think they said there were fans of WrestleMania from all 50 states, from about 100 odd countries. The world's media, the world's eyes are on that city for that weekend. For it to be in Vegas again. And for the quality of this year's WrestleMania as well, I think we've all agreed it wasn't an all-timer.
Yeah.
It was solid, don't get me wrong. There were some good matches on there. But is it really worthy of... I mean, if this was, say, 5-10 years' time, okay. You know, Vegas still is a pretty reputable place. It's one of the most iconic places probably in America, probably the world, to be fair. But I know it's the hope that kills you. It's always like that, again, in life. Anything you do, it's the hope that always kills you. But when I read the report on Thursday afternoon, the WrestleMania... Was it Wednesday or Thursday afternoon?
Wednesday, I believe.
Wednesday afternoon evening, that WrestleMania was being moved from New Orleans, and a significant offer had been made for it to be moved. I don't get why it's being moved so late. Like I say, money talks, and I get that. But we probably 10 months away from WrestleMania next year. I'm sure they've already started planning for bits and bobs for next year, and then they've had to kind of scrap that and do it all over again. I just feel that London, and I know you've been banging on about this, Curtis, for months and going on about it. It should have been in London. If it was going to be moved
100%,
anywhere,
yeah.
That's the thing, right? If they've decided on New Orleans, right, and they signed it, they put it out and advertised it, and they put it all out, right, just for them to then, not even a month and a half, 2 months later, cancel it and move it elsewhere. Why move it? Why not move? Because surely London offered. Surely London offered money.
They must have done.
They should have, right? But you had it in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
They had it in Las Vegas, right? I'm not joking. I genuinely did put up that post.
I did. I know. I just look at that now.
If they had it, they've had it in Las Vegas. Great show. Really was. Happy it was in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Good theme. The stage replicated it. Fiend, all of that, right?
Fiend.
Yeah. What? But I think it was about time they should have brought it to London. It was about time. Because if you look at every single time they come over, right, even if it's for a little house show, whether it's for Raw, SmackDown, whatever, Clash of the Castle. Look what they did when they announced Clash of the Castle for Wales. 60,000. What was it, like 62,000, 64,000?
I think so.
63.
Even though the tickets were still pretty pricey then.
64,000 people in Wales in the Principality Stadium. We had people coming from France. I spoke to people from Germany, France, Italy, Canada. Loads of people came over. Imagine London. London's the capital of England. It is the capital. It's a capital city. It's a hotspot for tourists. There's so much to do around and in London, not just wrestling wise.
Yeah.
London is the perfect location for WrestleMania. It really is. I don't see them.
Look how many people were there for All In.
Exactly. Loads of people were there for All In. Loads of people were there for All In the year before.
81,035.
See what I mean? 81,000. Who says WWE can't beat that? Easily. WrestleMania 42.
It depends how much room they take up with the stage.
Yeah, of course. But
Yeah.
I think we could easily get 80,000 in there. Easy. So, yeah.
Yes, talking of former...
Any other thoughts on WrestleMania?
I just solely believe they've done it for money chasing reasons. I doubt they've really consulted the fans much on their choice. That's my final point.
That's your final point. As I said earlier, though, it's important to note that WrestleMania has not been confirmed yet for Las Vegas. It's looking likely to be in Las Vegas.
Hasn't been confirmed.
Hasn't been officially announced yet.
But I'm sure it will be pretty soon.
Anyway, talking of former places that held WrestleMania, we had the third edition of Saturday night's main event taking place in Tampa, Florida. I want to go over the card.
Okay.
For the event. Pretty small card. There was only 6 matches, I believe. First match was Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Second match was Zelina Vega defending her newly won women's US title against Chelsea Green with the Secret Service at ringside. Fourth match was John Cena.
Third.
Third. Is it third?
Yes.
Third match, John Cena versus R-Truth. In a singles match, the title was not on the line. And fourth match, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in a steel cage match. Fifth and final match was Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, the World Heavyweight title.
It was, wasn't it, Curtis?
Yes. I want to get into my thoughts quickly before
Take your time with your thoughts. Let's hear them, my friend. Let's hear them in depth.
Well, firstly, it was, again, full of adverts. Personally, for me,
as we've come to expect from
as
these,
we've come to expect, yeah, they obviously it was on NBC.
It was,
so they had to make money from adverts some way, shape, or form. I felt like the whole show in general, they're improving massively with every event they do that's similar to this. The pacing was on point in some areas. My two favourite matches were R-Truth versus John Cena. I felt like that was a very entertaining match, despite its short length. And my second match that I really enjoyed was Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a steel cage, just purely for the brutality of all the spots, pretty much. And I'm slightly surprised that it's kind of welcome because he's had a lot of injuries lately. Drew is taking time off.
Yes.
For to nurse related injuries, which is understandable, as he's done such tremendous work. I just want to get your thoughts, Luke, first.
Yeah, I thought that going into it, I think we mentioned on the podcast before that, it's a bit of a glorified house show. Nothing really meaningful happens here. This definitely bucked the trend, starting from almost minute one with the first match, where really, really good match.
Mm-hmm.
It's been built since WrestleMania, obviously, with the Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Really like the CM Punk and Sami Zayn. Their outfits both have the flags of the colours of the Palestinian flag. We know that they're both very outspoken in terms of that issue. So I was really, really glad to see that, for them to use their voice in that way and all that. For Bronson Reed, let's come to the big Australian. Let's come to big Bronson Reed.
Forgot he returned.
Because he did return for the first time since Survivor Series War Games, where he got injured in that match.
He returned in a big way.
He did. Because at that time he was feuding with Seth Rollins. I think they had a match at Crown Jewel.
They did.
And then I think it was Jey Uso offered the final spot on Roman Reigns' team to Seth Rollins.
Yes.
Which Seth turned down because obviously he was sticking to his principles and his ways of not helping Roman Reigns and not trusting him, where everyone else did. And now they're in the same faction together.
He has seemingly joined up with Paul Heyman's newly formed faction, yes.
I'm sure that we'll get an explanation tonight on Monday Night Raw.
Definitely, yes.
As to why. I really like that, though. I really like the move, because you've got kind of the future of WWE and Bron Breakker. You've got the current in WWE and one of the best wrestlers
in Seth Rollins
in the world, in Seth Rollins. And then you've got Bronson Reed, this big powerhouse. Who can move, who can do like tsunami after tsunami off the top rope, and
yes,
I got a review coming out on our website shortly of Saturday Night's Main Event, and I think I described him as one of the best big men we've seen in WWE in a while. We've seen the Braun Strowmans of the world and the Omoses, who are just tall, muscly men who kind of push each other, push people around. But what you got in Bronson Reed is you've got the athleticism.
Yes.
He's a big man. He still gets people up in the air and power slam and all that. But you also have this athletic side of things, the crossbodies, the moves from the top rope. Yeah, he might not move like a luchador, but he's got a heck of a athletic prowess about him.
Stuff that a man of his size shouldn't be able to do, but somehow he pulls off.
Yes, I think that sums it up perfectly, Jack. So yeah, one of the really most impactful Saturday night's main event they've done since it came back at the end of last year. Chelsea Green, Zelina Vega, 5 minutes. Really not happy that it was so short. I think that
I don't realise why they cut it too short. It seemed like a very entertaining match.
it was, and their original match on SmackDown when Zelina Vega won the title was very entertaining. But obviously it's a 2-hour show, so you know it won't go on forever.
They have to cut time somewhere.
They do, and obviously this is where they cut time or decided not for it to go too long. But 5 minutes is very, very short. John Cena, R-Truth, did what needed to. They teased for a second John Cena turning babyface again when Cena got the title in the ring and R-Truth stood up, and they were kind of having that stare down, and then the fans kind of started chanting. They did tease a babyface Cena again.
They did.
And I think I'm going to make a bold prediction here. It will be R-Truth will be the one to turn Cena babyface again before his year is up. I think. Although it would be cool to get right down towards the end of the year and then see Cena walk away as champion, as he said. Which I'd be really interested to see how that storyline goes. Drew, Damian Priest, I really like that Jesse Ventura wasn't happy with the finish of the match. I mean, I get where he was coming from. It's a little bit ridiculous. You could just walk out the steel cage.
Slow count to the ref as well, he wasn't very happy with.
You know, if I was in a steel cage match, I could just hit a move from the top rope and just walk out within like five seconds and win the match.
Yes.
You know, as easy as that. But yeah, 2024 was the year of Drew McIntyre. I think he really took himself to another level with the whole CM Punk feud and that heel turn and his social media actions. So we know that Drew McIntyre 100% is there's no one better than him in WWE at the moment. So
his social media following definitely gave WWE a massive boost during last year.
So I hope it's not too long before we see him again, but he does deserve some time off. And then the main event again did what it said it needed to. Jey Uso retained, and there was a certain return, wasn't there?
Yes, there
Curtis.
Adrenaline and my soul.
For the first time since WrestleMania 41, Cody Rhodes returned to WWE. Right at the end of Saturday night's main event, when Cena and Logan Paul were beating down Jey Uso, his music hit, he ran to the ring, and it's been announced for Money in the Bank that we're going to have a tag team match between Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes against John Cena and Logan Paul.
Cody Rhodes announced it as they went off air.
You did.
Surprisingly.
You did. How do we feel about that?
I was just going to say, very interesting to me.
Curtis, I know you had some thoughts on that because you mentioned a report that you've seen online, didn't you, involving Mr. Fiend himself, Travis Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that it could be a 6-man tag match consisting of John Cena, Logan Paul, and Travis Scott versus the Usos and Cody Rhodes. So I think that obviously Jay and Cody are confirmed, but I think Jimmy or Travis Scott will get involved, and then The Rock will The Rock will.
The Rock?
The Rock.
Oh, wow.
The Rock will send.
Oh, there we go.
The Rock will send Travis Scott on behalf of him to compete in this match, and then Jimmy will come along, and it'll be a 6-man tag match at Money in the Bank. The Usos and Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, John Cena, and Travis Scott. So yeah.
Which again, I think.
Can you imagine saying that 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I know. Oh yeah, 5 years from now, Travis Scott is going to be in a wrestling
And
ring.
Logan Paul.
And Logan Paul will be in a wrestling ring with Cody Rhodes and the Usos. And John Cena. Yeah. Wow.
They'd probably call you crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
You'd get called a maniac. like Kevin Owens. But my thoughts on Saturday night's main event. I'd definitely say it's the best one by a mile out of the three we've had. This the third one. Third time is always the charm, as they say. So definitely the best one. Since it came back last year, main event was great. Good to see Cody back. Cena R-Truth was a bit of a squash, in my opinion. Also very good to see Bronson Reed back since Survivor Series. Overall, a pretty good show, and I think that it's definitely been the best one. And it was nice to see Lillian Garcia back announcing as well.
Yes, I think she said that she's going to do because obviously we know the whole thing around Saturday night's main event is that retro
feel and vibe.
Feel to things. We've seen that with, the entrance and the ramp and the ring and the kind of everything around it is kind of like that 1980s, 1990s feel to things, and that's no different with Lillian Garcia. I mean, we've seen her come back for a couple of months after Samantha Irvin quit WWE or left WWE, and she kind of was the bridge between there and Mark Nash, who I believe is the new SmackDown announcer coming in.
What do we think of him?
He's
okay.
He's pretty solid. I think
he's doing a decent job.
He is. I think he has a background in boxing. I think he does the boxing announcements for ESPN, I believe. So, yeah, really liking what he's doing so far. Anything else about what do you think about the Cody Rhodes return, Jack?
I was very, very happy to see him back after a long time away. Again, I think potentially Travis Scott being added to the tag match at Mania in the Bank. I believe he'll take the pin. I reckon.
Okay.
Personally, I just don't. I don't really see the direction anymore with Travis Scott being in this sort of group, especially with how The Rock has just been off air.
Yes, Travis Scott.
Yes.
How do we feel about him getting in the wrestling ring?
Very strange, because again, Curtis was saying 5 years ago you wouldn't even comprehend a rapper of his caliber coming into the business the way he's done it.
I mean, we've seen celebrity crossover in WWE.
We have, yes.
Going back to the early days of Andy Kaufman and Belinda Carlisle? No. Who was the original? Name's gone out of my head. It'll come back to me in a Cyndi Lauper. That's the one.
Yes.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yes.
Becky Lynch played her in the Young Rock TV series. But yeah, we've always seen celebrity crossover. Even going back like 10 years or so ago, Stephen Amell, who played the Green Arrow.
Yes.
Famously, I think he had a match against Stardust, aka Cody Rhodes. We've always seen celebrity involvement in WWE. Probably not to the level we have over the past couple of years.
Bad Bunny was another one.
Bad Bunny, yes.
Damien Priest and himself.
You could argue Pat McAfee as well.
Yes.
Obviously, he was an NFL player and he's got a widely successful podcast, but technically he still is a celebrity.
But just personally, I'm just not really kind of going towards against the idea of Travis being involved in the storyline going forward.
I mean, he has always been part of the storyline ever since kind of Elimination Chamber when John turned heel with The Rock, John Cena and Travis Scott attacking Cody Rhodes. So Cody Rhodes could come back and say, listen, I've had enough of you trying to ruin wrestling. Travis Scott tries to get involved and then he turns around and says, no, hold on a minute, don't you think that you're getting away from it either because you were the one that attacked me kind of thing. So it could be like a payback thing, which then ties into Jimmy helping out with his brother. So I think there is a possibility. It all depends on what happens over the next week or so, a week and a half, I'd say.
We'll
we'll see more on SmackDown.
Yes.
To come in SmackDown. Is John Cena set to appear on SmackDown?
I think he is.
So
he has about 23 dates left.
23 dates left.
And then he's done.
Then he's done.
And he
Goodbye,
finished.
John Cena. Thank God you can not ruin wrestling anymore if he doesn't do it before then.
I seen a theory online the other day. I can't remember who posted it. So credit to you if it was you. But obviously we know the famous storyline 2011 with CM Punk and Money in the Bank and him retaining the WWE title and walking out of WWE
Yes.
with that title. And then he came back a couple of months later and picked up where he left off with Cena. Someone said online, could we see the reverse of that? Cena's contract ends,
Potentially.
or Cena's dates run out at the end of the year, and he is still the WWE champion.
He said he's taking the title home with him.
He did. Could we see that? And then potentially at WrestleMania next year in Las Vegas, could we see John Cena's last match then take place against CM Punk, and CM Punk is the one to dethrone him? How would you feel about that? Kind of a full circle on their story.
It would definitely be a welcome change, especially if they are going to go down the route of CM Punk eventually winning a world title again.
Curtis, after that traumatic view we've all just had of our managing director falling asleep on the sofa here on Equal City Radio.
Yes.
My brain's gone blank.
CM Punk winning the world title at WrestleMania next year off John Cena in John Cena's final match.
No.
Ooh.
No? Who do you think takes the title off John Cena?
Cody Rhodes. Or Braun Breaker.
Oof. Okay.
Or,
They're certainly building Braun.
or double champ.
Ooh.
4 letters.
One word.
Imagine.
Yeah.
It's the most on cue eat we've had to date.
Yes.
During Saturday night's main event, during one of the many advert breaks, as we've already alluded to.
Oh, don't even get me started on these adverts on Saturday night's main event.
I'll have to find the audio that they play between the, because obviously it was live on YouTube here, so we didn't get adverts. I'll have to try and find some of the audio that...
It's the most awfulest thing you'll ever hear in your life. It's so bad. It's... Makes me want to strangle myself. It's that bad.
play in between. But something that was announced, they announced the location of the next, I believe it's the next Saturday night's main event, that being in...
Yes.
Are we boring you over there?
Just a little bit.
They announced the location of the next Saturday night's main event will take place in the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia on the Saturday night, obviously.
Well, yeah.
And then on the Sunday night,
Yes.
it's been rumoured
For a while.
at the start of the year. It's finally be confirmed. The second edition of the all-women's premium live event, Evolution.
Yes.
Yes. It's back.
When we put these notes together, Jack, you would say something to me. He knows what he said. He knows what he said.
Off air, yes.
Off air. Do you know what he said to me, Curtis, and the listeners?
What?
He said he's only looking forward to Evolution.
Because Liv Morgan's going to be on the
If
card.
Liv Morgan is champion.
There goes my headphones. If Liv Morgan's on that card, we will not speak to Jack. Oh. How about this then? How about this? A fatal 5-way match.
Yes.
Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton,
Okay.
Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
That's 3. Who else? Who else?
Um.
Who else? Who else? I'm trying to think. Who else?
Who?
Roxanne Perez.
Who?
Yes.
And I don't even think about saying Nia Jax.
Nia Jax.
Paige, aka Saraya.
Oh wow.
How about that for a match?
That would definitely.
Do we see Paige, i.e. Saraya, returning at this?
Maybe for a one-off. Does she come back permanently? I don't know. With her injury record, and obviously she was out for...
I think she'll come back full time.
Okay.
Maybe she might come back for one off and then decide.
I think
sign a contract.
I think she'll sign with them. She'll have the little break now that she's having.
Yeah.
Since she's left AEW, give it a couple of months to a year. Couple of months, she'll be back.
She did say she did prefer the Page gimmick.
And the thing is though, she said if the opportunity's there, she said she will return. So who knows? I reckon the offer's on the table.
You never know.
Maybe we could have another Charlotte Flair moment where she returns and she gets a title match.
Oh, brilliant.
Death, taxes.
Charlotte Flair wins the title.
No, here we go.
Wins.
You're guaranteed 3 things in life. Death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair winning the Money in the Bank match.
She's not in the Money in the Bank match.
Well, you know what she's like. She finds a way.
She'll insert herself somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. She also likes inserting needles into her face for Botox. But here we are.
I thought that conversation was going to go a completely different direction then after you started it.
Okay.
What are some of the matches we'd like to see at this event?
Ooh.
Do we have any dream matches? Any
Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. How about that?
That'd definitely be a...
How about
any for you, Jack?
Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair rematch.
that? Oh, no. There we go. Here's a match that you'll like. Liv Morgan versus Tiffany Stratton.
I wouldn't even know where to turn.
Extreme Rules.
Honest, I wouldn't even know. It is...
Poor Liv Morgan.
Although
She gets harassed by Jack, honestly.
move it.
I dread to think the message between the two of
Move
them.
it. Move him.
Are you a cow? You meant to say, ye.
I can officially say we haven't exchanged messages.
Oh, unlucky son.
Unfortunately.
Yet.
Unfortunately.
Pig yet. Watch now, like Luke pulls Liv Morgan's number or something.
Move it.
Swiftly on.
Get your words out, lad. Come on.
Move it. Move it.
You can't even... Oh, this is why we love this podcast.
Moving swiftly on.
Ah, thank you, Jack.
Yes, moving back onto topic.
Moo.
What was that?
Moo.
That should be the new Yeet gimmick.
That's my new gimmick. Instead of yeet, it's moo.
3 letters, 1 word.
Moo. I'm a cow. I'm a cowlush. God.
I mean, Laura Valkyria's gimmick is very bird inspired.
Yes.
4 letters, 1 word.
Yeah. What's Curtis Yeats everywhere? We'll come on to Double On, I think, as our last thing, because I watched that last night. The
Yes.
the 7.5 hour pay-per-view extravaganza presented by All Elite Wrestling last night. But one name that wasn't on the premium pay-per-view, which I thought was very telling as to where she goes next, was Mariah May.
Ooh.
Now, there's been talk for
There has.
months at this point that her contract is up this year and she's going to go over to WWE
And sign with them.
and sign with them. Apparently, it's always been a dream in professional wrestling to sign with WWE, and she wants to go. And her contract is up with AEW this year, and if the reports are to be believed, WWE could offer her a really, really big contract to go over there.
As they do with most of their talent.
Now, with this being a major spotlight on the incredibly talented women that WWE have on their roster,
Yes.
I don't know when her contract expires.
Mm-hmm.
Is this where we see her debut in Mariah May?
Yes.
She'll definitely be a welcome addition to the women's roster.
Would we be excited to see Mariah May in WWE?
Yes.
Very excited, yes.
We all know you'd be very excited, Jack. And Lou. Imagine, right? Imagine this for a triple threat. Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, and Mariah May. Jack would be on cloud 9.
This is...
You really would well be, wouldn't you?
He'd be on
Yes, I
Cloud
would.
9, Cloud 10, Cloud 11,
Cloud 15.
Cloud...
But as I mentioned, there's so many talented women in WWE.
Yes.
Some were let go a couple of weeks ago in the likes of Shayna Baszler and Dakota Kai. But there are still, even in NXT, NXT presented Battleground last night in Tampa, it's the Tampa Takeover.
Mm-hmm.
Down there you got the likes of Stephanie Raquel, you've got Jordan Grace, you've got Jada Parker, you've got just some incredibly talented women, Ruka. The NXT is probably better at showcasing women than the main roster is, probably because
Definitely in recent years.
I feel like the NXT women's division is stronger than the NXT men's division. But I definitely feel that this is well overdue, first and foremost. I think it was 2018, 2019, the first Evolution. And this is definitely a welcome event. I just can't wait to see some of these women get a spotlight on them, even more than they do already.
It's about time they brought it back.
I would love to see this be a yearly event as well.
Mm.
We see a WrestleMania every year. We see a Money in the Bank every year. We see a Royal Rumble every year. We see a Survivor Series every year. Let's have something that showcases the women, because quite often in these events, I know WrestleMania is pretty good, but this year WrestleMania was the first ever Mania where there was a women's match without a world title on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it took them 41 attempts for a women's match at WrestleMania to be purely storyline driven rather than title driven.
Yes.
And then you consider the depth of talent on that roster. We see Roxanne Perez and Julia be called up over the past couple of weeks. You have Nia Jax, you have Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Naomi. On the SmackDown side of things, over on Raw, then you've got Ivy Nile, you've got Valkyria, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, you've got Alexa Bliss obviously returning soon. So there's so much scope in that women's division. They just need to showcase it better, which I believe Evolution is going to do. What else do you think, Jack?
I'm just very, very excited to see what their plans are for this. I do hope they turn it into an annual thing.
Would you like to see it be an annual thing, Curtis?
Yes. I think it should, because it brings divide to the women's division, because we see kind of a lot on the match cards nowadays. There's not a lot of women's matches, so for them to have
if there are, they go like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, now that they've got their own event solely for them, I think it's good. Brings equality into the world.
It does.
Which we doesn't really have a lot of these days. But
I'm political here. Shall we? We'll fight it out and back on the podcast.
Oh God, I remember his rant about many things, he loves the word attitude.
I was going to say you've brought plenty of attitude to this podcast.
Of course, it's got to be done.
But last but not least, All Elite Wrestling last night presented their latest pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, which emanated from Glendale, Arizona. First time since COVID, or first time ever barring the pandemic. Double or Nothing. Here you go, Curtis. First time ever since AEW formed, and obviously without the pandemic, that they've moved Double or Nothing out to Las Vegas.
Wow.
And so it's only taken them 6 years. I can't wait for 6 years' time where we say WrestleMania's finally been moved from Las Vegas after WWE announced the next 5 editions of Mania to take place from Vegas. Is he falling asleep? Curtis! Wakey, wakey!
Right.
He's awake. There you go. Double or Nothing, Jack. You've seen bits and pieces. I've seen most of it. Let's get into it. What did you think?
Majority of it, yes. I feel like the whole show in general was a very, very solid show. Again, the pacing wise, it was very well paced, in my opinion. The match I really enjoyed, that I invested majority of my time in, was the arena match.
Anarchy in the Arena.
Anarchy in the Arena, yeah.
Yeah, they always go big for that match. They always kind of go overboard. Now,
They
whether you like overboard in your wrestling is more of a personal preference. To an extent, for me, I think there is definitely a line, and sometimes they do cross that line.
They've definitely crossed it on this one. They've done a few too many stupid but fun stunts over the course of the night. The two spots I really enjoyed the most was the exploding table. I can't actually remember who went through the table, and the other spot was Kenny Omega leaping off what seemed to be a barrier in the crowd.
It was he jumped off, and I think it was a moonsault, I believe, onto
It was like a
Wheelie
backflippy.
Uter and backflippy thing that Kenny Omega does.
Wheelie Uter just decided to cannonball off there. Brilliant.
He did. To be fair to him.
And another thing I'd like to mention is a lot of people got involved in that match. There was a lot of...
It was 6-on-6.
Yes.
But then you had Gabe Kidd interfere. You had Hiroshi Tanahashi interfere.
Hook,
yes.
Hook was there.
Hook returned. We've seen some more New Japan names, including the likes of Tomohiro Ishii. Obviously, we know that Forbidden Door is coming to London.
What was
There you go, Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
That's a major event coming to London. Forbidden Door. It's a major wrestling event coming to London. Surely you're happy about that, the O2 Arena?
No yeet.
What was
Why
your...
not?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with that?
We deserve a WrestleMania.
He won't be happy till it's WrestleMania. And then he'll be saying we deserve All In again.
Next joke.
What? Another 50, 60,000 people inside Wembley Stadium?
We want a WrestleMania.
He wouldn't be saying that if All In was in Cardiff now, would he? No, he wouldn't. But, yes, obviously we see New Japan interference with Forbidden Door on the horizon. We're on the road officially to All In now. I believe it's 7 weeks away. AEW's biggest American show to date. Their first ever American stadium show. They've done they've done Grand Slam in that arena, but this is kind of double, if not triple the size. And it's a baseball field, Globe Life Field in Texas, which I'm really looking forward to. It promises to be a great night, and now we have our first 2 confirmed matches.
We do, yes.
We do. So kicking off the night, we saw Mercedes Moné defeat Jimmy Hayter to win the 2025 Women's Owen Hart Foundation tournament. To guarantee herself a women's world title match. At the moment, it's against Toni Storm after she retained against Mina Shirakawa at Double or Nothing last night. So that's going to be. How do you feel about that? Because that's your TBS champion.
Yeah.
Against your world champion. That's the equivalent to saying that's your Intercontinental US champion against your world champion.
Definitely a very interesting way of looking at things, the way their direction is at the moment.
Do you feel that Mercedes Moné will drop that TBS title belt between now and All In?
I reckon so, yes. She's held it for
a year now, I believe.
Months, over a year, maybe.
So, yeah.
I think it's time for her to move swiftly on from the TBS.
I agree, but although recently she's been kind of collecting belts, so I think it kind of go along with that gimmick. But Toni Storm could lose the world title between now and then. So something could happen, and we see another AEW Women's World Champion that's not Toni Storm face off against Mercedes Moné. The other side of things, the main event of the night, saw Will Ospreay take on Hangman Page for the right to challenge Jon Moxley.
Yes.
At All In the final of the Men's Own Heart Foundation tournament. Now, I was caught a little bit off guard by this. I thought that Will Ospreay was going to win.
Yeah.
I was adamant Will Ospreay was going to win. And because he's been saying in the build-up that after All In, they go to London and it's Forbidden Door. And
which I think
it's at the O2 and it's like 20 minutes from his house and it's always what he's dreamed to wrestle at, and he now gets that opportunity to go and wrestle at the O2 Arena, and he wanted to do it as world champion.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, he's not going to do it as world champion, is he?
No.
Because Hangman Page beat him in the main event of last night. But then when I was thinking about it and getting ready for this podcast, I could see why. Because in the Anarchy in the Arena match, which you just spoke about, Jack.
Yes.
That the one team was the Death Riders and the Elite.
Yes.
Or the Young Bucks. Kazuchika Okada at another match. Obviously, we haven't seen Jack Perry in a little while. So, I'm fascinated by that dynamic. Are the Young Bucks going to turn babyface? Because they said for a while they interfered in Swerve and Jon Moxley at Dynasty a couple of months ago.
Yes.
So that Hangman Page would win the world title again.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't Swerve who was the champion.
I'm just very surprised.
Are we still going to see that dynamic of the Young Bucks and that argument from them that they are doing everything they're doing so that Hangman Page wins the world title? Even though they've just teamed up with the Pearsonese going to face it all in for the world title. Could you see the Young Bucks turn babyface again and help Hangman Page win the world title?
Potentially, because as far as I'm aware, they haven't been babyface for a while.
No, not for about a year or so. Probably longer than that.
I'm just very surprised that Will Ospreay didn't win, because considering he's on the... I'm right in saying he's on the front cover of Forbidden Door.
He is. He's on the poster. He is indeed. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it was very telling that Mariah May wasn't at the event in any way, shape or form. That I feel she's off to WWE. I don't think we'll see her again in AEW. I think it's just a matter of time for her contract to expire.
I reckon that's her next direction.
I think so.
Step in her career.
I think so. And I really liked MJF. I love that dynamic of him and the Hurt Syndicate. I really like that. Obviously, we know it's not going to last forever. That's probably going to lead to the debut of Cedric Alexander. Now we know that his 90-day non-compete clause with WWE is officially over. And we know that MJF wants another shot at the world title, or he wants to win the world title again. And he feels like the death of the Hurt Syndicate are the people to get him to that level.
Yes.
It's been nice being back.
Yes.
As we said, it's been 2 or 3 weeks, and Curtis, you did a great job on your own with your other half sat in the studio. We will have to get her on the podcast at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely will. Thank you, Jack. It's a pleasure as always. Nice to see you around. And Curtis, as ever.
Nice one.
I think from you today, what have we had? We've had a rant. We've had some eating.
Yeah.
And we've had you not talk about AEW. It's all typical podcast.
Standard, isn't it? Standard.
Very
standard stuff.
Yes.
The standards of Are You Ready?
But I've got one last thing. I want Jack to get involved in this.
Okay.
4 letters. 1 word. Yeah.
So far, on our poll, which is available now on our Twitter account, Are You Ready? So 100% of people say they disagree with WWE's decision to take WrestleMania back to Las Vegas.
I agree. Thank you very much.
It's probably me, you, and Jack.
Should we have a look? Should we have a little nose?
He was on 3 when I checked a couple of seconds ago.
Let's have a little nose. if my ex would like to load.
What are we looking forward to Monday Night Raw tonight, Jack? What's Curtis is doing that? Do we think we'll see CM Punk promo?
I reckon
3 votes
so,
and all say no.
I reckon we'll see CM Punk promo from.
And we'll see Liv Morgan. There you go. I can't wait for that.
Anyway,
it's been a pleasure as always. It's been nice to be back. And we will catch you next time for another edition of the Are You Ready Wrestling podcast. We'll see you very soon.